Grocery retailer Shoprite reported a rise of 25.5% in half-year earnings and said it expects selling price inflation to move higher during the second half of its financial year. The on-demand grocery delivery app Checkers Sixty60 expanded the store base from which it services Checkers customers to 266 stores from 233. The retailer declared an interim dividend of 233 cents. That's up 22%. For more, we are joined by Pieter Engelbrecht, who is the CEO of Shoprite. Pieter, thank you so much for your time. Quite a very impressive set of results, even though you were impacted by the civil unrest last year in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. But perhaps you can unpack for us the 6 months that was for Shoprite.
Yes, apologies for my voice, but it was a super set of results, an amazing performance by the people of Shoprite. I almost get emotional when I think back at that unrest situation, and that our teams have been able to, stores that was completely destroyed, reopen them within 6 days. And I think that probably tells the story of the 6 months in a nutshell. On top of that, we've been able to give customers back 4.5 billion in savings. That's if you add all the savings on the till slips with our extra savings program. So with all of that, been able to maintain gross margin and therefore a very good result in a 25% headlines earnings per share growth.
All your store formats have contributed quite handsomely, except for the furniture division. What's happening on that front?
Furniture comes off a very high base last year. They've grown almost 25% last year when we came out of the lockdown and people bought more of the, especially electronic equipment. So that business will definitely recover again. We are on a positive trend again, but the base is very high.
Let's talk about the mass cash transaction. When do you believe that it will be concluded, and how close are you on that front?
I think we will be able to complete before the end of June, which is the end of our financial year. We have progressed quite well with the department and the competition commission, so I'm very positive that we will do it still this side of our financial year, i.e. June.
When it comes to the integration of that business into Shoprite, what will you be focusing on as soon as that transaction is concluded?
So first of all is the protection of the jobs. So there are over 7,000 jobs that we will protect. Together with that is also that we have some small and medium enterprises in the form of suppliers. We need to make sure that they stay in business. And then for the rest, it's pretty much for Shoprite integrating it within our existing structures. It is almost for us like organically open more stores. We have the existing structures, and we will basically add a region of 2 that will run the operational management of that. Other than that, the stores will be rebranded Shoprite, so we will not continue with a Cambridge brand.
Pieter, is there an impact from a Shoprite point of view when we take into consideration what's happening in Ukraine? Any shipments, any supplies, or I suppose inventory that you've ordered from that particular side of the world?
Definitely so. So we had to cancel 34 containers that either came directly from Ukraine or had to pass through on the Black Sea, which is currently a no-go zone. So we've been able to redirect those orders to other suppliers, but we must bear in mind that Ukraine is the second largest exporter of edible oil, wheat, maize. So it's definitely going to be, there's going to be inflationary impact together with the oil price hitting record highs at the moment. So yes, I think we have to brace ourselves that there will be inflationary pressure in the market.
So Speaking of that inflationary pressure, I mean, your internal selling price inflation January sitting at 2.5%, and you do mention that you see it moving higher in the second half of the year. Where do you see it going if, I suppose, I don't put you under pressure for you to lock in a number right now?
I think that's now anybody's guess. I don't know how long this war is going to continue and how devastating it's going to be in the end. So it would be a hard guess for me. At the moment, we're trying our best to do as much as we can in terms of efficiencies to absorb cost pressures. We're also very fortunate that we're basically the only retailer in South Africa that has grown positive volume. And that assists our manufacturers to also contain their cost increases.
What's your sense of the South African retailer, the South African, I suppose, customer, let's put it that way, especially the customers you're attracting? What is their spending sort of habits like? Are they in a position to spend a little bit more? How are you seeing it?
I must say, I was a bit almost taken off guard when the president said last week that 46% of our people are now dependent on grant payments. That for me is a very large number and speaks to the high level of unemployment. And, you know, in the end, we but the grant recipients also has to decide where they're going to shop. So it's not automatically that we get the benefit from people receiving those grants. They still have a choice. And we're just happy that in a large degree, we are their choice.
From a capital expenditure point of view, I mean, what does that look like for the next 6 months, especially as you try to do more with your Checkers 6060?
So our guidance is that for the full year, we have allocated 4.8 billion rand into capital projects. A lot of that goes into digital. We have a very large point-of-sale replacement that comes at a hefty price, but unfortunately, we have to do that in order for us to maintain our strategy of creating a true omni-channel business. So, yeah, for the full year, around about 4.8 billion.
Pieter, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. That is Pieter Engelbrecht, who is the CEO of Shoprite.